All right, hey there, thrill seekers. Muskietime here. Hey, just want to take a couple of minutes and show you a little about what I use when fishing for, I don't know, smallmouth bass and small bass of any kind in streams and things like that. Especially when I'm just tramping around, maybe on my motorcycle or a couple rides in the car and things like that. Let's see. So what I use is it's about a 6'9", 6'8". Collapsible fishing rod. When it's collapsed, it kind of looks like this. I don't know, maybe 21 inches, and it comes out in multiple sections. It does very well for me. It comes, when it's transported, it comes with a little rod guide protection cover and a nice little travel sleeve. Anyhow, I thought I'd show you that, number one. Number two is I tie it up with the Stradic CI4. It's a carbon-infused reel. It seems to do very well, very lightweight for a lightweight setup. You can kind of see the flex on here. It's a fast tip and a stiffer body, and it does very well, actually. You know, here, I do have a fish, so I'll just let this guy go. So what I'm using today, just in case you're curious, is a ZMan product. It's a T.R.D, this is a ZMan tube. What's really nice is I've probably caught, I don't know, 30 plus bass on this particular setup right now. 1/20th of an ounce jig head. I Texas rig it. I don't know if you can see that, but I Texas rig it because I am fishing rocks and things like that. Okay, I'll show you how to Texas rig something real fast. Basically driving the hook through the nose, coming out an angle so it looks like that. Rotate the lure 180 degrees so it looks like that. Kind of line it up so you know where you want to poke the hole from the hook through the body. This is a hollow bait because it is a tube. So I pinch my finger right there so I know where I want to bring the hook. Pinch it up, bring it through, and it kind of looks like that. I'm not sure if your camera catches it, but you can see the barb is exposed, but just barely, just at the tip. And what I do is bend the hook down a little so the barb and the hook point is somewhat buried in the lure so it doesn't get snagged up on the rocks. Now, I don't do that until the hook is sharp. If the hook is not sharp, you're wasting your time. Go home and play golf or something. You got to keep the hook sharp. It's bouncing along the bottom. It's bumping into rocks and everything else. You have to sharpen it on a regular basis. Anyhow, that's the setup here. Let's see, the line for this Stradic CI4, and a Stradic is a phenomenal reel. The CI4 is even nicer, I think, because it's so lightweight. And you can feel everything. Of all the reels I have, these Stradics, of all the spinning reels I have, the Stradic is the best. It is so smooth, you don't feel anything other than what your line is doing. Okay, let's talk line and leader. There is a difference of what I have here. I have Berkley NanoFil. It's 10-pound test, white, so I can see the line, night or evening, or excuse me, not night, but day or evening. I can watch my line. My line will tell me if I have a bite way before I can even feel it so often. Anyhow, so I have NanoFil, 10-pound, and I tied that to approximately in this case, because of the length of the rod, I tie it with about a 6 foot to 8 foot leader of one of a couple of things. Number one, it can be Suffix. I do like this. This Suffix, this is 10-pound. I'm using 8-pound today. Suffix is a nice, good brand, relatively inexpensive. Now, this line actually is fluorocarbon. It is not monofilament. So it is tougher. It is more abrasion resistant than fluorocarbon. Unfortunately, it's a little more expensive. Fortunately, it sinks. So it can be down there closer to where the bait is. So on this angle, the line would be this way with the bait on the bottom versus monofilament where the line would be closer like this, trying to float up. The difference being, if a fish picks up a bait and your line is here and your bait is here, he can pick it up and you won't feel it other than a slacking of the line. If it is tension on there, because the line is floating and you're pulling it along, you will feel that pickup easier. So fluorocarbon is actually a lot better. Let's see, so one of the big challenges with fluorocarbon and braid is the knot you use. So let me show you this, or almost not show you this, and I say almost not show you it because the knot is so good. Oh, okay, so let's see, the knot is so good, it slides through the line, guides amazingly well. Again, I don't know if you can see that. Come on, camera, let's see. You can't see that really so well, but there you go. Maybe that's a little better. All right, that's an FG knot. You'll have to go on the internet to figure out how to tie it. I use 30 wraps. I go between 30 and 40 wraps when tying the FG knot because I'm using Berkley NanoFil. NanoFil is so slippery, it casts better than any other braided or fused line, but it is so slippery, it can the fluorocarbon can slip out of it. So it does take a little time to practice. So anyhow, it is well worth it, and that kind of thing. Okay, so I am fishing the stream. There is some current. To give you an idea again, this is kind of what it looks like. Kind of. Actually, it's exactly what it looks like. Anyhow, nice pretty string. And again, it's a ZMan lures. I'll show you a little more about ZMan since I got you on the line right now. So these are the tubes I was talking about. When I'm on a stream, I just grab just a few different color lures. You can see what they look like. They're highly buoyant, which is very nice, number one. They're salt impregnated, number two. And then sometimes I'll switch between the tube and something called a Finesse T.R.D. Same company, same level of buoyancy. They're only about 2.75 inches long. They are unbelievably stretchy. Now you can't really see because it's got blue metal flake in there, but there's actually salt. I can feel the salt as I'm stretching this. That salt goes in the water, helps mask the scent while you're fishing. Again, it is so buoyant. It really is nice because when you're using a lightweight jig, it almost looks like the fish are, that the plastic is a bait feeding, a bait fish feeding on the bottom and just nibbling on the bottom. All right, how boring is this, huh? We're getting a little boring now. All right, that's a ZMan hook. Check it out. It's a real light wire hook. It's got a little soldered barb here, which helps the plastic stay on. It's phenomenally well designed. This is a 1/20th ounce jig. It's perfect when there's a slight stream. If there's any more than what we're seeing here, I'll start stepping it up to 1/15th or, well, yeah, 1/15th or maybe even 1/10. But it's rare that on a stream like this that I'll go to 1/10 because I really want that jig to gently go down. Anyhow, I bet that's a whole bunch of extra information. Okay, well, okay, since I got you on the line, what the hell, and you're watching, let me tell you about wading the stream, okay? All right, you try not to fall in a stream, especially when you fish a lot by yourself. One of the things I have to help me with this is a wading stick. You can get them from Cabela's. They're about 54 inches in length. I put it on a leash, and I have it attached to my hip belt. When you wear waders, you wear a hip belt. It keeps the water from entering quickly into your waders should you fall over above this level or tip over. Anyhow, the wading staff actually really helps. It's very convenient whether you're in the water, whether you're tramping through wooded areas, trying to climb up or trying to climb down a bank, probing the water to see how deep it is. And I put it on a leash. Let's see, this is it's called the Gear Keeper. You can get them at Bass Pro or Cabela's. It's got a nice tension on it, about a 30-foot stretch on it. All right, hook sharpener, we mentioned it before. Have that handy. You got to be always sharpening your hooks. Little nippers or clippers to cut the line. It's got to be such that it can cut fluorocarbon, mono, and braid or fused line. Over here you just have some little hemostats to get hooks out and things like that. Again, on a little keeper. This is another gear keeper, smaller size, and these are just little retractors, a zip, I think that's called, and this is just a Meritech, okay, so who knows, you know, it was a name tag kind of thing from a promotion probably. Over here on my hip, just for safety, I have a, this is a Gerber flick. So if the fish hook is embedded too deeply and I can't get it with hemostats aren't gripping it, holding it or whatever, I'm able to get in there with these. This got a nice, nice deep reach to it. There's also a little cutter here that can cut the hooks, should I get one of myself, or if I need to cut fishing line, this hook cutter will cut it as well. All right, not that it's really important, but if you're messing around out here, it's nice to have a little pair of scissors. Again, that's why I use this kind of stuff. It's got a knife, it's got a file, another type of hook file if you want, and it's rather lightweight, just stays on my hip. Now, you know, I always have a safety whistle. If you're on the stream, you got to have a safety whistle. One of the things for my lures, I use super glue. This is a brush-on super glue product that does very well. Let's see, what does it say? Oh, brush-on fishing glue. I bet the image is reversed because we're looking out the front of the camera. But I use that to keep the plastic onto the jig head. It just extends the life a little. All right, this is called Skin Shield. Who the hell cares? Well, you do. This is a little antiseptic and a Band-Aid. So you cut yourself, you scrape yourself hard, you can put the Skin Shield on and continue to fish. I also have Band-Aids and aspirin and Benadryl and ibuprofen and Aleve and things like that in the backpack that the camera's resting on right now, just in case. I mean, when you're tramping around in the woods, you could get a bee sting. And speaking of bee stings, you can get a bee sting, and the Benadryl helps. The cream helps. So you really kind of actually should have that with you. Poison ivy, another thing that you'll find out here in the woods, anywhere you go. All right, because you're in the woods, because you're tramping around, use freaking bug spray. Put it on before you get all your gear on so your gear doesn't smell like bug spray and you smell like bug spray. It is so critical. Unfortunately, you got to use it. Fortunately, they have something because the woods are full of deer ticks, Lyme disease, and other things that you don't want to get. It actually even helps, to a degree, it helps keep the gnats away. And on a river, mostly by chunk rock river beds and things like that. I don't know if you can see. I should probably move a little because it's kind of fun to see. This is a little bluff wall here on the right, a little flat over here. River goes around, or stream goes around. And obviously, you can see the stream start to turn. When a stream turns, that left side in this case, the water's coming this way. But as the stream turns, the outside edge will always be the deepest slot, deepest hole, highest probability of fish. All right, Mega Strike. That's a little scent that I put on my baits at times. Got to tell you, I'm 50-50 on it. I'm not sure if it works or not, but I'm still touching my baits up with it. Anyhow, that's that. Had these waders for probably 20 years. They're Sims waders, and they've done really well. So quite happy. You can see I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt. It's about 75 degrees here. Days is a lot hotter than this. I wear a long sleeve shirt to keep the sun off me. If you spend some time in the water, you want to have sun protection. Before I went out today, before I put the bug spray on, when I was at home getting ready after my shower, I put on sunscreen. Again, just a little protection. If you're going to spend days out in the water, be safe. Wear a wading belt, okay? That'll keep the water from entering in and getting you all wet and things like that. What else? Okay, well, I can tell you this real quick. I'm videotaping this through, yes, no, not a potato, but through my iPhone. So I have a little case here, a Flambeau, I don't know, a bunch of companies make them. It's theoretically a waterproof case because iPhones aren't waterproof. Idiots. Anyhow, that helps a lot when you're tramping around a waterproof case. All right, anything else? I carry a backpack. The backpack I carry is so I can carry larger packages of the lures that I just showed you, so I can keep my spear rod, a spear reel in. a bottle of water, a bottle of Gatorade. I always drink the Gatorade first. I keep the bottle of water just in case you get hurt or things like that. You can rinse it off with nice clean water. If I'm getting closer to the end of the trip or it's hot, obviously you're drinking the water. What else? Hat, keep the sun off my face. Polarized glasses. You ain't gonna see nothing if you're not wearing polarized glasses, so please get a good pair of polarized glasses. Get some keepers like this. I can't remember who this is, but these keepers actually totally rock. These are Cabell, C-A-B-L-Z, cables, C-A-B-L-Z. Let me can see that. So they're adjustable. I think you get them at Bass Pro. Anyhow, so they're adjustable, so they fit nice and snug on you. You can drop them down when you're catching a fish or trying to see what you need to do. Obviously, if you need to, bifocals or magnifying glasses are also really good. I'm blessed that I have a certain type of contact, so it compensates for that. But really, when it comes right down to it, it's all about the lure, the rod, the reel combination. Of what's the most important? The reel's the most important. Next is the line, so you can feel it. Next is the rod. You hold it like this, and you will feel the bait pick up. You will feel debris on your bait before you even bring it in. And when you get to that level, well, we could talk and I'll tell you some more. All right, wishing you all the very best. God bless.